how it all went south.
All right, Sean, so this is the unbelievable story of Rent a Hitman. With Hitman coming out this summer, the new Glenn Powell movie, I don't know if you've seen it on Netflix.
No.
It's based on a Texas Monthly story, a true life story of a guy who is a hitman, and he's got all kinds of disguises. It's also kind of a romantic comedy at the same time. And it got me thinking about real life hitmen and what that is. And of course, we have some experience, right? With hitmen being Billy Sunday Birt, the enforcer for the Dixie Mafia, the ultimate hitman. But he wasn't kind of hired out for outsiders to take people out. It was within the group.
Yeah, it wasn't like the average guy walked up and said, hey, go knock this guy out for me.
And there are others, and we talked about this on a previous episode with Gangster House and Mike Thievis. When I would walk to WeWork every day, I was working on Gangster House, and I didn't even know at the time. I would walk by this parking lot right by the Lowe's Hotel on 11th and Peachtree, and in the back of that parking lot, Mike Thievis's rival in the 70s was coming out from a night at work and started up his car, and huge explosion, blood and guts everywhere. And his guy, a guy named Roger Underhill, went out there the next day and picked up bone fragments and made it into a paperweight and gave it as a tribute to Mike Thievis while he was in the hospital. It's so wild that I have been walking by this, working on this story, and this happened right in the heart of Atlanta.
So whose bones did he get? Thievis was in the hospital, and he got the bones of his rival.
Of his rival, yeah.
Okay, that's actually pretty gangster.
It totally is. And so it really got me thinking, like an actual hitman, it feels like it only happens in the movies. And how do you actually hire a hitman to take out a rival or an enemy? And even more intriguing than that, what if there was an easy way to order your very own hit on someone from the convenience of your own home?
Yeah, because that's an interesting conversation to bring up. You know, if you wanted a hitman for some reason, for whatever reason, you know, how do you bring that? How do you broach that subject in conversation with anyone?
Well, now we have
do
a
you
web.
happen to know somebody that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, now.
No, just kidding.
Well, what if there was a website? Well, there is, and that website's called rentahitman.com. And you may be shocked to find out that real humans actually use this website to order hits online.
Real humans.
Barely humans, how's that?
Real live humans, folks.
They're not bots.
Cheers
to that, right? Rent a Hitman was originally created as a joke by a man named Bob Innes for a cybersecurity business. And it instead became a trap for would-be criminals. And despite the site's numerous clues that it is actually a parody, including references to the fictitious Hitman Information Privacy Protection Act and humorous fake testimonials, people continue to submit serious murder-for-hire requests. Innes has helped law enforcement by verifying and reporting legitimate threats leading to multiple arrests, including that of Helen Kaplan in 2010 and Wendy Wein in 2020. Additionally, individuals like Josiah Garcia, who sought employment as a hitman, have also been apprehended.
Hey, y'all hiring?
Yeah. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. So Innes estimates that roughly 10% of the 400 service requests have resulted in police involvement, highlighting the site's unexpected role.
I'm still stuck on the guy that's trying to, did he send in a resume?
Oh, we'll get into
What's on your resume when you're trying to get hired as a hitman?
Oh, he had qualifications. That's the thing. That's the thing.
I got references if you need them.
National Guard. We'll get into him a little bit later.
I love that.
So today we'll break down everything about this crazy story. We'll talk about real life hits that were broken up after people submitted their requests for hits, other ways to order a hitman not on rentahitman.com if you don't want to go the public web.
Conventional route, yeah.
And I even have a price list for services performed and a whole lot more. It's a really good one. Let's get into it. Recorded live at 800 East Studios in the heart of Atlanta. This is how it all went south. So the elephant in the room is, of course, in order to do the Rent a Hitman episode, I actually had to so-called dress like a hitman.
Yeah, I was going to say you look pretty dapper.
Yeah.
I was wondering what the occasion was. I feel slightly underdressed.
This is a once in a in a podcast episode occasion, so I broke out the suit. I did a whole photo thing a couple years ago, and people are like, "You look like a gangster," or "You look like a hitman," or whatever it is, or an accountant.
It's a toss-up.
Yes, or Oscar.
You're smiling too.
Yeah,
you're smiling too much to be a hitman.
Yeah, but I
Let me see your best hitman face. Right, you go 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, that's right.
See your... That's actually pretty good.
Okay,
that's actually pretty good.
Well, now that that's been done, let's get into our story. It had likely only been a day since Wendy Wein first submitted her service request on the Rent a Hitman website in July 2020, when she received an email from Guido Finelli. Would you like to?
He's got to be real. He's got.
Would you like me to put you in contact with the field operative? Angered by her ex-husband stealing $20,000 from her.
It's gonna be a long episode.
Always Guido Finelli. Guido Finelli is the webmaster. He's the web mistress. He's all things.
Guido Finelli, wasn't that one of the guys that was chasing the Goonies?
Joey Pants was Guido the pimp in Risky Business.
Guido the pimp.
But there's the other guy.
The Fratellis, not
Fratellis.
The Fratelli brothers. Yeah.
Okay. Deep breath, because it's too humorous to not laugh at this. Okay, so she received an email from Guido Finelli. Would you like me to put you in contact with the field operative? And she had been angered by her ex-husband stealing $20,000 from her. And she was curious how the site services could resolve her, quote, issue. During the scheduled consultation, she provided detailed information about her ex-husband, including his home address, place of work, daily schedule, all that stuff. And she actually offered up $5,000 for the job and made a $200 down payment. Little did she know that the field operative, of course, that she was talking to was actually a Michigan State Police trooper in plain clothes. Wein was charged with solicitation of murder and using a computer to commit a crime, pleading guilty to both charges. Wein isn't the first criminal to fall victim to the parody site, though. Funny enough, the site wasn't even originally intended to catch murder-for-hire criminals.
I'm just going to say this. If you are ever in the market for a hitman and they ask you for a $200 deposit, you may want to rethink your selection. You'll have better luck going down to the liquor store in the corner, the shady liquor store, and just
paying cash, right?
Yeah. $200 deposit, $20,000 hit for. I'll take $200 up front. The rest after the job's done. Layaway for hits. People are so stupid.
So this did not start out originally as a parody site or even something remotely related to hitmen or ordering them. So while in business school in North Carolina, Bob Innes bought the Rent a Hitman domain with the idea that he'd use it for a cybersecurity business. He planned to, start with friends. Back in the early days of the internet, hits were like page views. That's what we called them. Oh, how many hits I got on my website. And it made sense for Bob to start that connection to the cybersecurity business that he was going to form. So even though friends never started the company, Innes held onto the domain and he hoped that someday someone would buy it. So a few months after graduating from North Carolina, he put the domain up for sale and he left an email address on the page for anyone interested that might want to buy the domain later on. So after 3 years, he gets no interest and the site sat idle. But it wasn't until 2008 when he checked the email account, which he never thought of. And he was surprised to see hundreds of unsettling messages from people around the globe, all seeking services to kill family members and former loved ones. Though there were zero hints in the first version of this website that it had anything to do with renting a hitman. But maybe that was the attraction, right? It was a plain paper bag.
Yeah, what was the original web address?
Rentahitman.com.
It was rentahitman.com. Yeah. Okay.
And I was kind of thinking about this. So it's maybe like a brown paper bag with a dirty magazine in it, where it's like this is a plain website, but all the bad stuff is happening behind the scenes. And so it was intriguing what was on the other side of it. It felt safe for anyone that was submitting, so-called. So I actually went back. Do you know the Wayback Machine?
Yeah.
Archive.org?
Yeah.
So it allows you to pull up old versions of websites. You can go and see youtube.com from 15 years ago or espn.com. And as of today, they've indexed 866 billion pages on the internet. So I plugged in rentahitman.com and it said, sorry, this URL has been excluded from the Wayback Machine. Oh well. But still, people back then wrote into the site.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard about this. I don't know a lot about it. I didn't know this whole backstory of how that came to be, but I've heard about that.
You and everyone else did.
Because I know,
It blew up. It was
it
a
became
thing.
a popular thing, and I know that there were people that got arrested, and yeah, that's so crazy, so bizarre, and I love how that came to be, where it was like, had this domain as a joke, parked it, and just forgot, and comes back a couple years later, checks the emails, like, holy shit, like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. So when we get back from this break, we're going to tell you a little bit more about the website and some of the stupid criminals that actually did hire for hits.
My favorite part. And that's how it all went south.
Okay, so what does Bob Innes do if he receives a serious-looking hit request? He first confirms that the requests are real, and he does the usual thing, right? He gets the name, he tries to match it to an address, he goes on social channels just to make sure everything is okay. And once he's confirmed that everything is legit, he likes to wait 24 hours before asking if they're still interested. He will reach out and ask them 2 questions. Do you still require our services? And do you want me to place you in contact with a field operator? Once that happens and they've reached back out, then authorities are, of course, immediately contacted if they still want to move forward. And some submissions are not given any grace period. If it involves minors or any abuse or kind of school stuff or government employee targets, he'll reach out immediately to authorities and get that started.
Yeah, it's such a... I'm just still trying to like wrap my head around being stupid enough to go onto like the internet. I get if this was on the dark web and somebody thought they were really being a sleuth and like, they'll never catch me, I'm on the dark web, you know?
Yeah.
But this is like google.com, I need a hitman, and points them to this, and they're like...
It makes you wonder what is the process that people go through to get to this website. Because it's not like it's on the side of a bus, you know?
Yeah.
Like you have to go through a process. It's going to put your digital footprint out there somehow, some way.
Yeah.
And somehow they're landing on this website.
This is confidential, right?
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
So murder for hire requests were not the only thing filling Bob Innes's inbox. People were interested in employment opportunities. And I mentioned this earlier. Searching for contract mercenary jobs, Josiah Garcia, a Tennessee Air National Guardsman, applied for a fake position in 2023. In several follow-up emails he sent over the next month, he submitted personal details that included his name, address, phone number, date of birth, and even a photo of his driver's license. He was all in on this. He was very serious about this. Mm-hmm. He boasted that he was an expert marksman and that he had been employed in the National Guard since July 2021.
Y'all got a 401k over there?
Matching. So eager to work, Garcia had his interview, unaware that he was talking to an undercover FBI agent. They provided him with a target packet of photos and other information of a fictional individual and a down payment of $2,500.
This guy's thinking he just hit the lottery.
He hit the lottery. What a gig,
like,
right?
Honey, I finally have a job that I love.
And they just gave me the photo of the person I can whack. So agreeing to the terms of the arrangement, Garcia made sure to ask if he needed to provide a photograph of the deceased. The FBI agents were quick to arrest him and conduct a search of his home, where they recovered an AR-style rifle. Garcia's motivation, he needed money to support his growing family. Because it's all about family, isn't it?
Yeah.
Plus, he thought he'd be a good hitman. The U.S. Attorney's Office of the Middle District of Tennessee federally charged Garcia using interstate facilities to commission murder for hire.
He's like, look, every time I watch a movie about a hitman, I mean, I am right there.
Yeah. Doing it for the kids, though.
Oh yeah, it's always for the kids. It's like my wife's on me about a bigger engagement ring, or a bigger diamond necklace.
Yeah.
Need a new washer and dryer.
I just love the part. He just thought he'd be good at it.
Yeah. Why do you want this job, sir?
I'm good. I'm good.
I think I'd be a good hitman. I mean, why else? Y'all got health insurance?
PTO.
Yeah. Now, how many days off a year do I get for vacation?
Got anything in Jamaica?
Yeah.
A little sunnier.
We laugh, but this is probably on some level like the way that guy's thinking.
He's probably out of jail too.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying.
We know he's not a hitman because he didn't get the job. Fucking loser.
Rentahitman.net. He's setting it up tomorrow. Yeah. So Bob Innes decides, I'm going to change the website. I'm going to upgrade it from that plain paper bag looking thing from way back when. And he starts to add graphics and forms and all kinds of things. And he loads it with dead giveaways that it is a parody. Yet somehow people still submit serious requests. The tagline on the website is your point-and-click solution. There's even a YouTube commercial for the site run by, of course, Guido Finelli. The site claims, and this is funny, to adhere to privacy laws under a fictitious statute that I talked about earlier, the HIPAA statute, which again, people are thinking the privacy HIPAA, not this thing, which is Hitman Information Privacy Protection Act.
I want to see this commercial. We'll
play it. We'll play it for listeners for sure.
Yeah, hey you. You looking for a hitman? You got an issue that needs resolving? Look no further than Rent a Hitman, your point-and-click solution.
So I guess Rent a Hitman customers just feel well safe when submitting their information through the website. And you were talking about the dark web earlier.
Yeah.
The other thing the website does so in a really clever way is it tells potential hitman hires not to go to the dark web for their needs. That's too unsafe.
Right.
Instead, you should do this and do it on the real web.
Yeah.
And that's obviously what people did.
Yeah. That makes me think of have you ever seen that fake website? It's very much the same as Rent a Hitman, but it's about like where you can order dog meat.
No. Sean?
It's brilliant.
Sean?
It's brilliant. It is so funny. I'm going to tell you. You've got to check this site out. I forget what it's called. We'll find it and put it up. But it is. There's so many dead giveaways, and it's run by like an animal rights.
It really. I mean,
yeah.
And people trust things more than they should out in the real world, but even on the internet, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
So there's amusing fake testimonials on the website too, and a fake ad that offers to check if your credit card number has been stolen. Click on the banner ad, and it redirects users to the FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center. And here's one fake testimonial. Caught my husband cheating with the babysitter, and our relationship was terminated after a free public relations consultation. I'm single again and looking to mingle. Thanks, Guido.
Thanks, Guido. You're the best.
Yeah, that's Guido Finelli, the supposed head of the operation, sort of like Guido the Killer Pimp. But Guido is, of course, just mild-mannered Bob Innes. And Innes himself has kept a low profile despite the media coverage that happened over the years. And when it was first reported, he was on ABC 7, and he even wore sunglasses that day to protect his identity.
Like that's very Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, he just took his glasses off. That's Clark Kent.
Yeah, that's right. You can't find this guy.
Jesus.
So I love this. With a supposed, again, gullible people, with a supposed roster of nearly 18,000 field operatives, Rent a Hitman could instantly look legitimate and yet instantly outrageous. Innes told CNN that number, which is actually 17,985, is the exact number of law enforcement agencies that were in the U.S. in 2016.
That's funny.
he's having fun with it, right?
Yeah.
So it truly does make you think how people look for literally everything on the internet. We were talking about this. Are they typing hire a hitman or rent a hitman into Google? How do they land on this site? How did they find out about it? And even when it blew up, how would they not know this? It is crazy to me that this still happens.
I always wonder that when something gets like globally recognized like that. I mean, it was such a huge story. It's kind of like Sacha Baron Cohen and Borat. Like he still was able to go out and pull that off, and it's like, how have you not? Even if you've not watched the movie, you had to have heard about this guy. How can you be duped?
Yeah. Well,
there's a hitman. Oh, I saw it on CNN. I don't know. Must be legit.
Maybe just people don't do the same things that we do, or they don't have the same. They're in their home and their safeguards go down.
Probably the people that are going to rentahitman.com probably don't have the same interests that you and I have.
Yeah.
But they're also probably, you're right. If they have a computer.
And I think there was some mental illness in some of these cases too, where they weren't able to kind of understand what it meant because it felt real. And that's of course sad.
Yeah.
Just remember, people are getting scammed out of so many things every single day on anything.
Yeah.
Phishing and kind of, here, give me your credit card now, or what's your social security number? Like all those things. So it's not like it's just this.
Yeah. But I'd say renting a hitman online is probably a little different than getting, your email phishing.
Yeah.
You've won a $500 Home Depot gift card.
Yeah. So despite all the press coverage, requests continue to pour in. Despite that huge wave of news when this really came out as a thing, it was everywhere. And in January 2022, analytics reported the site still had close to 13,500 visitors, 27,000 page views, and 65 hit requests. Nearly 3/4 of all visitors are men, and about a third are under 18. So it's kids playing around.
Right.
And Bob Innes has said he's fielded offers from Hollywood to make this into something bigger.
Sure.
As you would imagine.
I'm surprised it's not already.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of these crazy arrests and people who have submitted.
Yeah, I want to hear these.
So the site's first arrest and conviction happened in 2010 when Helen Kaplan, a British woman in Ontario, Canada, emailed into the site. She claimed she was stranded in Canada and had lost her passport. She was interested in having 3 family members in the UK killed, alleging they had cheated her out of her inheritance. And Innes didn't respond at first, but she persisted, offering money and sending names and addresses of the intended targets. Compelled to act, Innes responded, pretending to have the capacity to organize a hit. And when she replied with her name, or the name, location, and phone number of a woman, Innes reached out to the UK authorities. And she was busted and pleaded guilty to soliciting to commit murder, was jailed and extradited to the UK, where she was wanted in the UK for even more serious charges. So
wow. Yeah, and what is the jail time that you would get?
Some of these were 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these are
you're trying to legitimately solicit
serious threats.
Commit murder.
Yeah.
So
the next one is 2018, 20-year-old Devin Fauber solicited the site to have his ex-girlfriend and her parents killed so that he could take care of his ex-wife's 3-year-old daughter as his own. Back to the kids.
Everything's for the kids.
Yeah, he told an undercover investigator, I could be a really good father to her, but I need these 3 people to be taken out before I can do anything. Met with, undercover agent, Augusta County officer, provided names, photos, all the things of the intended victim. He was unable to come up with the funds to finalize the plans, but they did arrest him, and he ended up with 20 years in prison for solicitation to commit first-degree murder with 10 years suspended. Yeah.
Oops.
The next one is Xandra Ellis in New Orleans. In the parking lot of the New Orleans self-described fanciest Waffle House in America. She was arrested in July 2018 for requesting a hit on a woman whose initials are BH. And she went under the name of an alias. She said, I would like her dead since she is trying to kill me. and Jasmine D. Brown was her name. And I actually have the criminal complaint. And yeah, I mean, it's right here. I think what's interesting to me is serious FBI investigation. And they describe how it came into the website, what this website was, that it was a parody website. Yeah, RI is the webmaster for rentahitman.com. Rentahitman.com is a parody site complete with its own web-based intake form. Like, they describe this in the FBI investigation, and it's fascinating.
And you think, like, how differently that could have gone if this guy, Inez is his name?
Yeah, Inez.
It was like, huh, I could really make some money here.
Right.
You know what I mean? If he was a shady guy.
So there was an exchange, and I love this being captured in an FBI report. It was agreed upon by Ellis and the UC, which is the undercover person, that the price to complete what Ellis requested online would be a G. And in the footnote, it says, G is commonly referred to in street terminology as meaning $1,000. So the FBI is very buttoned up,
very
on
hip
street stuff. So she, yeah, I mean,
street talk. That means $1,000, kid.
I just love seeing kind of the FBI report that kind of proves that it really was a thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I would think that they're loving this guy, law enforcement, you know what I mean? The FBI, because it's kind of like these people who may, you think about this. If somebody was in like Chicago or some major city, right? And they didn't know about this site, they were actively looking for someone to kill their loved one. You know what I'm saying? So how far removed are they from going to find some shady dude in a pool hall or whatever? And you know what I'm saying? Like,
and she submitted a different name because she wanted to potentially cover her tracks and avoid potentially going to jail, as if the hit wouldn't be enough. And so she agreed to pay $1,000 for the services with a 10% down payment. And here's a little bit of the message. Okay, cool. I got the 100, but we'll just need a little time for the rest unless I can do installments. LOL.
Nothing like a good LOL in your
Let's keep it cute.
in your hiring of someone to murder a loved one.
Yeah, and that $100 fee, like, that busted her, and she was sentenced to 18 months in jail, 3 years of supervised release, and the whole deal.
I ain't got the rest of that, but I'm supposed to get paid on Friday. You go ahead and take care of this, and we'll square up. After
the break, we're going to go to the dark web, and it gets really crazy from there.
Oh, yeah. I can only imagine.
We'll be back. So we're back, and you would expect this, but there was a different hitman site called the Online Killers Market on the dark web. And this is where it gets really dark. So here's a story. Her name is Melody Sasser in Knoxville, Tennessee. I have the FBI sheet on that, and I'll pull that up in a bit. Jennifer Wallace knew exactly who police were referring to when they showed up to her house in April 2023. A foreign law enforcement agency had reached out to Homeland Security to report that someone had made her the target of an assassination plot. After announcing his engagement to Jennifer in 2022, David Wallace was surprised when his hiking buddy and 2020 Match.com match from Knoxville, Melody Sasser, showed up unannounced at his Alabama house to tell them, "I hope you both fall off a cliff and die." Shortly after, Jennifer reported both sides of her car had been keyed. So they were already suspicious of this ex-girlfriend, she's stalking them. And so she starts lobbing in lots of threatening calls over voice IP numbers that they don't recognize the numbers, and they have to cut all of that off. And so while out in a walk in the neighborhood in spring of 23, a user by the name of Cattree sent the Online Killer Market site a message that detailed Jennifer's activities for that day. She was monitoring Jennifer and David's activities and locations using the Strava fitness tracking app connected to their watches, their Garmin watches. She had been stalking them at work and doing all kinds of stuff, showing up at the home. and she put this on the dark web on this online killer's website, and she wanted to pay for it in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
The amount was going to be for $9,750. She was going to do it by Bitcoin, and she's telling the market, like, she went for a walk this day, and she came back from her job, and can you get me a new hitman, because whoever's here is not actually doing the job. And the message is, hello, I have 2 other hitmen that I can assign on the job, but one wants, whatever the Bitcoin amount versus this. And she adds it. She's ready to go. And so this whole thing is happening by cryptocurrency, and she paid cash to purchase the Bitcoin and the whole thing. So this is a pretty serious one that happened on the dark web.
Yeah, and there's a lot of crimes there, I would imagine, just even the cryptocurrency with being, if they're in different countries or whatever, like that's certainly like different federal crimes in there, not just soliciting murder.
Yeah, so this was really curious to me of, again, another method of how do I actually order a hit? But I started thinking a little bit more, like, what are the price lists? And I actually found this really cool bit of information by Joe Robinson, a VPN expert. He wrote a fully fact-checked piece on privacyaffairs.com, and it includes a running price list of what it is. I'm actually going to give this to you, and I want you to go through this and read this back, because it's fascinating.
Yeah, okay. So this is the whole list. Scare someone for $1,000. That seems expensive. And
I'll do that for free.
Yeah, well, and so scare someone $1,000. Arson, if they're in a car, to burn a car is also $1,000. Does that not seem unfair? If I'm going to pay $1,000 to have someone's car burned, I'm not going to have pay the same price just to have someone scared. That seems unreasonable.
Yeah.
500 tops for a good scare. $2,500 for broken bones. $2,000 for burning someone's house. Facial disfigurement is actually its own line item.
Very specific, isn't it?
Yeah, $4,000. And then acid attack, also $4,000. But I guess that doesn't make any, why would they be 2 different items? Accidental, in quotations, accidental death. Assassination plus $4,000, and an assassination is $20,000. So I guess if you want them to make it look like it's an accident, add $4,000 onto that.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I mean, yeah. Which is, $20,000 for an assassination. Like, that's more in line with the cost that I thought it would be.
Yeah.
As opposed to the rent a hitman thing where it was like, or the Bitcoin thing where it was like, yeah, 95. But what do you got on you?
Yeah.
The one that was $1,000. I'm not even scaring you for $1,000.
I just never expected to have a
crazy
fact-checked list of specific types of ways to have someone whacked.
Yeah, I would really think it is like a menu. You're right. It is like a menu.
Have you ever been on the dark web?
Sure. Yeah. That's all you need to know about that.
What's your alias?
See, I don't even know what that means, so I'm lying about being on the dark web. No,
it's not
like,
dark mode on your phone.
No, it's like from the movie Hackers, like when I was in the 90s, growing up, I thought that was like the dark web, and if you're hacking, like all these crazy computer animations.
This isn't AOL.
When I downloaded one time like the Tor browser, one of those like silent browsers, and I was like, this is just like Google, but not with as good of graphics.
Yeah.
And it's slower and it's terrible. So why am I doing this?
Exactly.
Yeah, it was not the movie Hackers at all, and I gave up. I don't do anything that do anything that would need to be done on the dark web. You know what I mean? If I want a hitman, for example, I just rent a hitman.com.
Because it's
why even go to the dark web?
Yeah. Well, this has been, I think, a fascinating, like, new to me type discovery and total rabbit hole. And by the way, the site rentahitman.com is still up and running. You can visit. We'll share some screenshots of some of the pages. You can actually even buy coffee mugs and t-shirts that say 100% satisfied customer.
Yeah. That's actually really funny.
I just wonder if any of the crazy people ordered the hit and bought the t-shirt.
if you order a hit, you ought to get a T-shirt for free.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yeah, from Guido.
Yeah. From Guido with love.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time on How It All Went South.
Cheers. We'll see you next time.